Hi viewers. Us detectorists are always finding things that we can't identify, and sometimes it can be quite frustrating. Bits of broken bronze or iron or whatever. The item in front of you I can actually identify. It's a lead trader's token, and you can see the cartwheel on it there. But anyway, the item that I can't identify, which I thought was lead, is this particular one. And it feels like lead, it looks like lead, and it's got a flat bottom, so it's obviously been melted onto something, which is, I suppose, reasonably common. You do find lumps of lead looking like this, and obviously you do find the lead musket balls. But we're always finding odd bits of lead. A lead plug there that I found. Some kind of plug, I think, yeah. And if you look at the two together, the oxidization does seem similar, the colour seems similar, they're both heavy, but there is something odd about this, and I'll show you right now what bothered me, because it was in the scrap bucket, the lead bucket, for ages, and I wasn't comfortable with it. It was just something not right. And then I thought, well, I'll take another look at it. I dug it out, and sure enough, this thing is, so obviously that'll show, it's as hard as iron. The knife will not mark it. And I thought, well, that's very odd, so tried the magnet on it, and it's non-magnetic, just like lead, non-magnetic. I mean, there's a scrap piece of lead, and you'll see with the knife, I mean, you can just easily, you can scratch that, mark that. We all know how soft lead is. Now, this particular piece was one of two that I found on a particular dig, and here is the other one, and it's sort of, it just doesn't, the way it's melted doesn't look like lead would melt. If you've ever melted lead, you'll know what I mean, but it's definitely, as you can see, it's melted onto something, onto some kind of ledge there. And the location that these two were found was a Victorian orchard, something like that. And anyway, on the same location I did find a World War II trench lighter, and I thought maybe there's some kind of melted military thing or something, and I thought, I've got to find out what this is. So this piece, as you can see, is much cleaner, because I scrubbed it and cleaned it as much as I possibly could. So anyway, I thought the only way I'm going to maybe find out what this is if I do a specific gravity test. So I will do that right now, and let's see what the results say. So let's do the specific gravity test. We'll start by turning the scales on. Hopefully it's 0, and weigh the item, which, as you can see, 252 grams. So I'll write that down. Then we will place the water onto the scales and tare it. So it's 0. Now I'm going to use some invisible thread to tie round this, and then lower it into the water. Right, let's lower it in. Till it's fully submerged, and we have 26 grams. Right, let's do the calculation. So we want 252 divided by 26 gives us 9.69. 9.69. So that is the specific gravity, which is very close to 10, which is 10.5, but it obviously is not silver. So I will go and have a look on one of the mini specific gravity charts and see what it comes closest to. So, bearing in mind that the metal isn't pristinely clean, as you can see there's a bit of debris still buried in it, you're not going to get an entirely accurate specific gravity. So the number that it came up with was 9.69, so it could be 9.7, 9.68, you know, somewhere around there. Anyway, lead is 11.34. Where's my piece of lead gone? There's my piece of lead. So lead has a specific gravity of 11.34, which is obviously nowhere near 9.69. The nearest metal, pure metal, to bismuth, to bismuth, to that 9.69 is bismuth, which is 9.79. And for those of you who don't know what bismuth is, there's a piece of bismuth, and unlike lead, it oxidizes in these iridescent colours, which hopefully show up quite nicely on camera. They may not because of the artificial light, but so that's 9.79, and obviously it isn't bismuth because it has got the wrong oxidation. Pewter, which I thought, well, maybe it's pewter. No, that's 7.76. Oh, and the other thing someone has said, is it a meteorite? I don't think it is because of the way it's melted, but I did check the specific gravity of various meteorites, and the iron meteorite, which obviously would have been magnetic, it has a specific gravity of between 7 and 8, so it's obviously not magnetic, so it's not that. So I was like bashing my head against the wall. I spent an hour surfing all the specific gravity charts, and even the specific gravity of metal alloys. And there are some that come similar alloys, but none identical. Now, the other thing I thought, well, maybe they were melted fishing weights, because modern fishing weights aren't made of lead, and this one I don't think is either, because as you can see it's very hard and kind of produces a similar finish to that. So I looked up the specific gravity of fishing sinkers, fishing weights, whatever you like to call them, and they say 11.29. So the nearest alloys I came to for what this possibly could be would be either a tin and bismuth alloy, or a cadmium and bismuth alloy, or possibly some kind of lead alloy. But none of them came up to exactly the same figure, but then they do have like a broad spectrum, like the tin and bismuth alloy can be between 9.67 and 9.79. So why this was in the middle of a field with World War II relics, I don't know, because you know, an alloy like this is kind of more modern, so I've no idea what it once was, how it got melted, why it got melted, what it is really, I don't know. Hopefully it's not radioactive, but anyway, hope you enjoyed the video on trying to decipher what these lumps were, ancient or, well, I can only assume they're ancient because the ground hasn't been dug for many years. field. So anyway, catch you all on the next one. Bye.